The opinion of Genshin drastically has changed throughout the years because of the community and its updates and its questionable decisions. And of course, Genshin and anyone who plays it are just seen as, Discord moderator, all that. Some people even say the story is washed and there's no point even playing the game because the story is dead and has no lead. But I'm here to tell you to not give up on the game just yet. You can give up on the game later, but don't give up on the game now, especially when we're so close to the quote unquote end and next chapter of the game, and just give it a little more time. Because even if you do hate the community, the game itself can be argued as not being bad. It has its downsides, but it also has its upsides. I've seen many people criticize the story for being way too forgettable. I've seen many people criticize the nations for being way too forgettable, and there being a severe lack of content in them after you've 100%ed them the first time. Now, I know why this is, and simply put, it's because it's meant to be that way. You're not meant to stay in one region, you're not meant to get attached to one region. You're meant to play, and as each one comes out, you go to the new region, you explore, you complete the quest, and then you move on again. Many people criticize the lack of our sibling actually being in the story and in the Archon quests. Even I'm guilty of this. But to know why that is, you really have to understand the story. And in a way, our focus has shifted from finding our twin to ultimately finding out the nature of the world itself and finding out why the world seems to think that your twin belongs in the world when you very clearly went with him to this world from a different one. Basically, the whole plot of Genshin is to find out who's gaslighting you. All jokes aside, I personally don't think this is the best way to go about it to make regions forgettable, make Archon quests not that fun. But in a way, I see how it is building up very slowly until we finally reach, Shesnaya, Conria, Celestia. I see that building up. And the reason why it's so slow is because think about the nations. If they lore dropped everything in Inazuma, why would we still play? If they lore dropped everything in Sumeru, why would we still play? And now in Fontaine, why are we still playing? Because we don't know information. It keeps us thinking, it keeps us going. If we knew what was going to happen at the end of Genshin, ultimately no one would play the Archon quest. And you may argue saying, oh, well, people might want the rewards, people might want this. No, you won't. Not everyone is a primo hunter. They will do anything for primogem. People genuinely are out there who play the game for its story and its story elements. And the reason people get so excited for a new update is because they're like, what's going to happen next? Because we're ultimately getting fed breadcrumbs of story in each update. But in a way, it is all building up, it is all connected and adding together. So in the later regions, they can just bomb us in the face straight away with good content and fast story. While I don't think the story is perfect, I see why it's missed out key details, and the storytelling may seem a bit rough. But that is all because they're saving the best ultimately for the last. I mean, realistically, think about it. In our quests, in our travels, how much do we really know about the world? Pretty much nothing. We've only spoken to the Archons barely. Okay, not barely, but you know what I mean. In the grand scheme of what we could have found out, it's minimal. And it keeps us going, it keeps, us as a character wanting more, wanting to find the answer. And I think that's what makes it great. Just constant anticipation. But I'm not here to tell you how great the story is. I'm here to convince you, Dan, the game's going to get better. I think this comes quite simple, but with experience, the product gets better. Naturally, the game will get better just from developers just becoming better at their job and making better decisions. But that's obvious. I truly think that the more we progress towards Shesnaya and Natlan, the more information we're going to get. Because that's how it's been, the last time. And while the story may seem stale now, if you play long enough to experience those 2 or 3 nations extra, because I'm counting the next one after Shesnaya, then you might just fall in love with the game again. But if you don't do that when all that comes out, and you're going to be overwhelmed, it's oh no, I'm 3 nations behind, what's the point of even playing? You've ultimately just ruined an experience for yourself that you could have had. The argument can be made, oh, I can just go back and do it all. But when you're 3 nations behind, and especially with the Archon quest getting longer and longer with each nation, that is not easy. And ultimately, it will be dragging to play that long. No matter how fun the game is, if you're playing it for 16 hours straight, at some point you're going to be okay, I might need to take a break. Because as much as you can love the Genshin story, you won't love sitting there listening for 16 hours to Paimon talking, right? That's obvious. But what I just mean is, this part of the video, my point is, just keep up to date with the quests. Keep progressing up. Get your character stronger, Just play the game. You don't have to play it religiously. You don't have to play it for 18 hours a day. Just don't quit the game. You know, develop your characters, develop everything, do your Archon quests, learn the story, and you'll ultimately have a way better experience instead of just quitting and then coming back 5 years later when the whole game's done and then you have to replay it all yourself. Because obviously in this case spoilers come into play. You're not going to want to get spoiled, because obviously if you play Genshin, you probably get videos of it on your TikTok or something. So when you're scrolling and you see the end of Genshin on your For You page, you're not going to be very happy, are you? Which is why it's probably the best if you play the quest as soon as they come out. But I don't know, not everyone can do that. So my conclusion from this is literally just don't get left behind. Play the game at a healthy amount and nothing will happen to you. And I think that's fair. And as always, thanks for listening to me out. If you enjoyed, please like the video and comment and subscribe, of course. And as always, have an amazing night.